Greetings, and welcome. Happy Sunday to everybody. Today is August 14th. So, welcome. Let's do a little audio check here. Hope everything is good. And I'm just going to do a little special show here. Hopefully, it won't take up too much of your time on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. Just a reminder, if you do not have the Gray Stage book yet, you can definitely download that for free right now. Just go to thegraystage.com and you can find it right there. I want to give a special shout out to my friend Cindy, who has been waiting patiently for an original copy of the book and a few other surprises. That went out yesterday, so hopefully you do receive that. Had a little issue with the address, but hopefully it's okay and hopefully it gets to you. If it doesn't, Cindy, please let me know. Hey, Ellie, how are you? Very nice to see you. Hope you're doing well on this beautiful Sunday. Been trying to keep up with your shows too, Ellie. I think you're an admin here. Yeah, you are an admin. Okay, great. Thank you for popping in on this late notice, and I won't be here for too long, but just wanted to drop in. We're going to cover some of the something that I had written, a little piece of my book that I wrote. This is on page 131 of the original copy regarding Mitch Heil. And Ellie, let me know if my audio. Please let me know if my audio is coming in too low or too hot, whatever it is. But we're going to talk a little bit about Mitch Heil today. Mitch Heil is a guy that served with David Crowley. It's also a childhood friend and a business partner up until a couple months before David Crowley died. David Crowley asked Mitch Heil to sign away his rights to the Gray State Project. Mitch Heil gracefully did. Um, Mitch Heil is also one of the only people that I know on record who friends, family, close friends and family, one of the only people that I know who has stated that David Crowley did not have PTSD emphatically. Um, Other guys kind of dance around the issue. Well, maybe he did. Danny August Mason told Ben Swan, we all have PTSD in some type of form, right? Mitch Heil at least stood up for his friend and said, no, David Crowley did not have PTSD. And he did that at the Walker Arts Center in Minnesota, right after A Gray State, Eric Nelson's A Gray State. They did a live premiere, whatever you want to call it. And so Mitch Heil has my respect for that because PTSD is a serious thing. Especially when we're talking about soldiers and things like that. So for people to just accuse David of it or just assume that David had it is really not fair, is really not cool. David even jokes about it, and it's kind of difficult when you think about, if he really had it, would he be joking about it? That's one of the questions. But again, nobody really was talking about PTSD. Nobody cared about PTSD or tried to throw in those allegations until they realized that they really had nothing to prove David Crowley guilty, and they better start making things up. They better just start trying to fill in those gaps that they can't fill in because people started asking questions and then started looking at them and saying, wait a minute, why are you accusing David of PTSD here? He didn't have PTSD. He did all of these things, all of his work that he was doing. Is this really a characteristic of a guy with PTSD? All of a sudden, David Crowley dies, and now you're saying he has PTSD to the point where you're going to use that against him to try to act like that is some of the reason why he killed his family and killed himself. That's usually not what happens with PTSD, but if it did happen with PTSD, you would have seen evidence of it, right, Ellie? So Ellie even says, yeah, even if he had it, doesn't make him a murderer. Exactly. That's exactly it, Ellie. Totally right on that. Even if he had it, doesn't make him a murderer, because there are many people that do have it that don't commit these crimes like this. So it just seemed very lazy of them to just kind of throw that in there when they really realized that there was nothing else that they had, right? They couldn't present any facts, so it was just all of this wild speculation, just to try to slander David Crowley. It's really odd behavior by some of these people. But today, what we're going to talk about here was what happened on September 26, 2017, when Mitch Heil, I guess he's a frequent guest of the Dutch and Royce show. I forget the name of their show, but he shared his thoughts about Eric Nelson's film, A Gray State. So we're going to cut to that here very soon. Now, Mitch Heil was seated in the front row during the film's pre-release screening at the Walker Art Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota on September 21st, 2017. So this interview that we're going to listen to happened probably 6 days later, 5 days later after this came out at the Walker Art Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So this is well before I had seen the movie, well before Dan had seen it or anything. I know they wanted to get us there. I don't know why they would want us there for whatever reason, but that didn't happen, obviously. So we're going to jump right into this and just kind of listen to some of what Mitch Heil is saying on the Dutch and Royce show. And the show starts off hot. Let me just do a little screen share here. The show starts off pretty hot. I mean, 1 minute and 13 seconds, and they're going to start talking about Mitch Heil. So they're going to jump right into it. One of the first voices you're going to hear is Mitch Heil. They cover other topics, so we're not going to cover the whole hour and 47-minute show. Oh, there it is. Dutch and Royce, we are better than you. That's a funny name. Let's go ahead. Jump right into this one. What do you say here? Okay, so let me just play. Here we go.
What did you guys do this weekend?
What did we?
Oh,
just
I have
into
something.
it.
Please go ahead, Mitch.
Okay. So as you guys all know, my former business partner and best friend David killed his family and himself many years ago.
Yes.
Spoiler alert.
Yes.
Killed his family. I thought he just killed himself.
No, he killed his
right.
wife.
Yeah, you're right.
So probably about a year ago, there was someone making a documentary about it. They heard the story and they were really into how he was a filmmaker and all this other stuff. So started making a documentary, and this is the same guy who it was produced by Werner Herzog, he did the Grizzly Man documentary.
Mm-hmm.
The one about
I know who that guy is. Yeah.
Yeah, he lived with the grizzly bears until they killed him.
Right.
He was like, yeah. So the same guy that did that documentary did this one. So
Interesting. Did they interview you at all?
Yeah, they interviewed me. They interviewed a bunch of people that were involved with the movie, his family, all kinds of other stuff. Well, they had a screening in town last week for it.
Did you go?
I did go. Yeah, it was super weird. Like it was like really well done, but it's really strange watching a documentary about your best friend who basically went nuts, and it's like you're just watching the slow collapse of somebody, like progressing, and there's like a bunch of weird things. Like, you know, at first it's like everything's normal, things are fine, but start getting weirder and weirder with what he's saying, what he's writing, the way he's doing, and he recorded everything, like whether if it was with his cell phone or with video.
He meaning your friend?
Yeah,
Dave.
my friend David. Yeah, and he like meticulously kept journals of everything for the longest time, and it was really weird. Like some of the end shit that was there.
Was there stuff that caught you off guard? You're like, I didn't realize.
Yeah,
what's going on? Yeah,
like I knew that he was like getting big into the conspiracy stuff, but like one of the shots in there, he was in his basement with a camera pointed at him. He's sitting in full, military garb, and he has a airsoft gun in his arm, and he's watching Alex Jones just yelling, "I've been telling everyone that. That's what I've been saying."
Damn.
A bunch of
weird
stuff like that. Yeah.
So what was the purpose of the documentary? Just Herzog just found this story fascinating, the fact that it took off in the conspiracy theory realm, people saying that, the government was behind.
Basically, well, Herzog was the producer of it. Is this other guy, Eric Nelson, who directed it. But basically, Eric he's the guy that basically heard the story, seen everything on the news, and like looked into it more because he saw David was a very talented guy. What could have possibly caused all of this?
When did they interview you?
Probably about a year ago, sometime around winter. Yeah.
What's the name of the documentary?
It's called A Gray State.
Okay.
Oh God, that's not the way you expected the movie to come out, did you?
What's
I remember to say all those years before the thing happened, before
I know
the
what you're saying. I know what
thing
you're gonna say
happened,
too.
we were really joking about Gray State, not to be dicks. We were just being, well, we're dicks, but to have fun. We Gray State, everything, and then it's like when that happens, and then you hear that the movie.
Should we explain this a little bit to maybe some new listeners? Because that was going on years ago.
So, Mitch, you want to explain what the concept of Gray
Okay.
State was?
So, Gray State, to use its whatever tagline that I think they went by, is like it's a dystopian near future where the government has declared martial law and has taken over of normal civilians, and they're basically it's basically a jizz fest of all conspiracy theories mixed into one, where there's
But it's like
it's
it's a scripted movie
yeah it's a fictional movie supposed to be
about like
fictional.
if all these conspiracy theories were true and
Kind
they all
of.
came together at one time, kind of thing, or no?
Kind of that, yeah, kind of that, and then it's about this one guy's or his, a group of characters attempts at overthrowing, but fixing the problem, the heroes to save the day, but they don't really save the day. It kind of like I guess any dystopian movie in the future where the shit's gone bad and taken over, and there's this ragtag group of rebels trying to fix everything or whatever. But
Right.
so that's basically the gist of it. But Royce, it's funny you said that, because I said to someone else that was there, like one of the people that was involved with it, I'm like, well, I mean, I guess he always wanted Gray State to get big. I don't know if he envisioned this is how it would have happened, but
No, I don't think
The
that
thing
he
is, with
did.
people like there's like there's like a 1% of people that get your sense of humor, Mitch, and the rest of people
Right.
don't
I
understand.
think you're talking about this right now and you're giggling. It's just
Because that's Mitch. That's how he is. And,
I know.
and it's like, if you know Mitch, you understand that. But if you don't know him, you think this guy's gonna kill himself too. Like,
well, I
he's
mean, it was
crazy.
at this point, it was like what, 3 years ago, I think,
Yes.
2014.
But you were
or
joking
something, so-
about it right after it happened too.
Well, that's how I cope with things.
That's
is
how
I-
it
Yeah, which is fine.
Well, here's the thing. Real quick,
I do
though,
wanna
what was
stop
your
there.
role in the
That was an interesting part where he says he does joke about these things. So what I did is, in the book, you notice just 2-3 pages maybe that I focused on Mitch Heil. And yeah, I thought it was like some of the things that he said. It's really strange watching a documentary about your best friend who basically went nuts. And it's like, wow, so you just buy into the whole thing. Let's not even look into it. Let's not even be observant. Let's not even be a little critical about it. It's just, yeah, he did it. And again, this is 2 hours here. You're not going to hear anything where they say, look, this is why David Crowley did it. This is the evidence that shows it. 2 hours, you're not going to hear that by a guy that, like you said, Ellie, with best friends like this, who needs enemies? Ellie also says maybe they did save the day. No one but David and Kamel would know that. And the hard drives. Yeah, and the hard drives, all that. And what was the other thing that he said? He just said, "Oh, I guess we haven't gotten to some of the other things, but yeah, that was the thing. How he copes with things. He's joking about the murders right after they happen. But that's just how Mitch dealt with his friend's tragedy. It's normal for him. That's just how I cope with things. So right after this happened, Mitch is joking about the deaths. Right after this happens, right? Not looking into it and saying, wow, did my friend really do this? Did my best friend, did my fellow soldier, did my former business partner really do this? Or is there more to it? But it shows you the mentality of Mitch Heil in his own words. Tell us a little bit more about that, Ellie. I don't know who Royce Lopez is, but yeah, this is the only time I've ever heard of the Dutch and Royce show is what we're listening to here now. So if you have any background info, that would be awesome to give us. And I'll go back to it because I know we want to listen to this. I'll try to keep my commentary at a minimum. I'm sure I have some. I'm sure we all have some. So I'm going to mute my mic here and let's continue on.
the Gray State movie, not the documentary, the movie
okay.
initially.
Go, I think.
Yes.
2014
But you were
or
joking
something,
about it right after it happened too.
Well, that's how I cope with things.
That's
is
how
I-
I know,
Yeah, which is fine.
Well,
No
here's the
one's
thing.
saying that.
Well, real quick though, like, what was your role in the Gray State movie, not the documentary, the movie
okay.
initially?
in the movie, I was basically, because it was just three of us. It was me and David and this other guy, Danny. So we were the people behind it. So I did camera, I did props, I did makeup, I did lighting, I did producing things, I did set design, I did basically anything you could possibly do in a movie other than being the director are things that I had a hand in at one point or another.
Okay. So, are you fairly prominently featured in this documentary?
Not prominently.
Family.
It's not. I'm not prominent in it. It's more of like, it's mostly because I don't know if you guys have seen it. There's an Amy Winehouse documentary.
Yeah, we've seen
It
it.
was about her.
Yeah, it was
and
pretty good actually.
Yeah. The entire thing was done with found footage, aside from a couple interviews here and there.
Right.
It's the same idea because there was just so much shit on his computers and on his camp. He recorded everything.
And his family had no problem turning that over.
Oh no, they gave it. They gave it all over because. First of all, what are they going to do with it? And second, I guess it's kind of a way to humanize him, or,
Right.
not say he was a monster, blah blah blah, evil guy, but try to, I don't know. The way I saw it was kind of a, hopefully, it's like a wake up call if you have friends out there. They're starting to not necessarily get into the conspiracy stuff, but just in general, like if you see them descending or showing some of these same patterns or whatever, kind of like these are warning signs to possibly look out for, or just I don't know.
Yeah, there was another friend that was being interviewed in it who said David had told him, I went into a dark place. Like, if I ever do that again, like, you need to wake me up and get me out of it. And he attempted that. And he's like, dude, you're like, this is going all wrong. And David's like, nope, like, I'm fine. Just stay out of it.
Yeah, and that's
Did you get that?
that kind of shows David wasn't really going into this dark place at that time. And the other thing is, okay, you go into this dark place. These people are only going on Eric Nelson's film. Let's put it like that. They're not looking at the alternative theory. They're going to get there. So, as I've tried to promise Little Bear, I'll try to keep my mouth shut on some of this stuff. But it's hard. I have not listened to this in years. So this is the first time in maybe 4 or 5 years.
That sense at all while it was going on? I mean, we didn't really we addressed what happened, but I don't think we really asked you about like what you saw was going on right up until
Basically, so my involvement with that ended when, to me, it was no longer financially viable to stay involved, and by that I mean I was like 2 months away from being homeless because everything that we were working on, like we had a video production company, so we should be making commercials and shit like that to make money. That was our full-time job at that point because we weren't in school anymore. Well, his whole focus was working on that one project, so there was no outside projects to bring in any revenue.
Right. Okay.
So I'm like, and then also because I said conspiracies are fucking stupid, I don't mesh with this whole movie, so I can't do it anymore. So I had gotten out of it at that point, and I'd always known that, or not always known, but like when he would do his writing, especially for that one, he would like disappear for weeks at a time. So for me, not being involved in the project and him not talking for weeks at a time wasn't anything out of the ordinary for me. I mean, there was one point where I saw him where I gave him some stuff and he was looking really skinny, and because he was always a guy, he went to the gym and he was all pretty muscular and stuff, pretty ripped. And then when I saw him, he was pretty skinny. He looked kind of shitty, but he said, I've just been working really hard, whatever, blah blah blah, stress. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So, what kind of role did you play in this documentary?
In the well, because I think other than his family, I was, a person that knew him the longest, because we went to high school together and then we joined the Army together. So I gave the outside perspective of, his early days, the Army days, early video stuff before getting involved with Gray State and, working on other projects and stuff like that. So I was more of the early stuff. There was some other people that were more of the, the conspiracy theory type involvement type things. They had two hardcore conspiracy theorists who still think that he was killed by the government in there. and they were doing a Skype session back and forth, and all the film.
Okay, I've got to stop it there, because when he talks about hardcore conspiracy theorists who thought that the government did it, he's talking about Dan Hinnon and myself. So again, this guy really doesn't even know that much about us, which that's fine. I understand that, but he doesn't even know that much about his own friend's death. I mean, that's the real issue here. I totally get why he would throw me and Dan Hinnon into the crowd of people that think, hey, David did this and the government killed him. Dan Hinnon and I do not believe that. We're not saying that. We're not saying that we have one theory or, hey, we know what happened. These are the guys that did it, or this is what exactly happened. But it just shows how little informed Mitch Heil is, and shows how little he really cared about looking into his friend's death. And that's sad. So we get lumped into that. We're hardcore conspiracy theorists. I'm a hardcore Christian. I'm a believer in Jesus Christ. I don't consider myself a conspiracy theorist, but that's fine. People can call me that. It doesn't matter. But the main thing that stood out to me, and I'll continue on here, the main thing that stood out to me is how little Mitch Heil knows about his own friend's death and about the people that are looking into his friend's death. That's a little bit disturbing. And Ellie says here, how about your friend going down on paper as a murderer and having committed suicide? Yeah, I mean, it's really, really it. Really interesting. Okay. I am going to go back and mute myself, and let's continue on. We want to hear Mitch Heil's side of this, right?
Filmmaker did was let them talk to each other over Skype and show how two hardcore conspiracy theorists who still think that he was killed by the government in there, and they were doing a Skype session back and forth, and all the filmmaker did was let them talk to each other.
Sorry, I just got to jump in one more thing. It wasn't Skype. We didn't do it on Skype. We did it on Google Hangouts. That's besides the.
They had two hardcore conspiracy theorists who still think that he was killed by the government in there, and they were doing a Skype session back and forth, and all the filmmaker did was let them talk to each other over Skype and show how fucking stupid they are. He didn't even have to say anything to them.
Wow.
I think it was pretty funny.
Should we watch the trailer?
I don't know if there's a trailer.
Yeah, no.
Is there?
Sherry put it in the chat room.
Oh, it's a trailer for the original Gray State
Oh,
when he
that's-
was discussing
Oh, the original
that.
one. Oh, okay.
No,
thought that was-
I don't think.
These guys don't even know that there is a trailer. Yeah, there's a trailer. There's a trailer to Eric Nelson's film. Don't even know that. It's just like they don't even care. Don't even care about this thing that happened. But yet they're going to try to belittle us, people that do care. And it's weird because I didn't know David. Dan didn't know David. I'm sure many of you watching this in the chat probably didn't really know David. And we care. What the hell? What kind of people are these? It's really very interesting. Don't even know that there's a trailer out there. There's a very hot guy's voice in the trailer too. I'll just say that. I won't say who it is, but let's continue on, my friends. Frustrating. Yeah, bizarre.
I don't think there's a trailer for this one. I know that it's there was a screening here in town last week, and then in like a month or so, there's the Twin Cities International Film Festival. It's going to be screening there. I don't know where else it's going to be screening, but it is going to get played on A&E.
Oh wow.
Wow.
It was basically they set up some kind of deal with A&E documentary, A&E Films, and it's going to get basically that's their distribution platform for it.
Wow.
And I
Okay.
heard it's supposed to be in select theaters around Minnesota. I don't know if it's supposed to be in select theaters
I don't
around the country, but
But I do want to, when I get more details on when it's going to be on TV or in the theaters or whatever, I want to get the director on the show and have him
Yeah.
kind of give his perspective on it.
Yeah, that'd
Right.
be
Right.
awesome.
Would you say
Yeah, no,
that? I'm sorry. Would you say that in watching the documentary that it was well done?
Oh, extremely well done.
You gotta
I
be
thought
kidding
that-
me.
You think anything was, like-
Extremely well done. It's a hit piece. It's a hit piece on your friend. It's a hit piece on David Crowley, and it's extremely well done. Yeah, it's an extremely well done hit piece to confuse people, to trick people, to make a United States soldier who served this country in 2 hellacious wars during some of the most brutal times in this nation, in this country, 2 wars that we should have never been a part of. And David served during those times. And Mitch Heil did too. You would think this guy would know better. You would think he would know some of this stuff. What was Mitch Heil even doing involved in David Crowley's project? He didn't believe in it. He clearly stated, we heard earlier, he's in it for the money. He dropped out once there was no money involved. He didn't want to be part of it. And he's not the only one. There are many people, it was all about the money. It wasn't about the message. Okay, now you can say, well, David Crowley was about the money too. But if that's true, he could have done a lot of other things, which he was doing too. But at the same time, to say that it was, I don't know. It's very interesting to hear Mitch Heil's own thoughts on that, because he admits it was about the money, not about the message. He may find himself on the other side. He may find himself in Arkansas, loving the blue states and the blue Democrats and all. I don't know. I really don't know. But the way that he talks is just very, very strange. To talk about your friend like that. And to understand, if you serve this country, like, what do you think about these wars? Are you okay with these wars? Are these wars good? And a lot of blue people, they use that, especially back during George Bush Jr., because I was a Democrat back then too, and it was like, wow, how could people be for this war? And then you have Barack Obama, who does the same thing, right? And with Biden, we're right back into it with these same old wars here. And it's all blue, and it's like, well, it's not about blue, it's not about red. David was a libertarian. I don't know where Mitch Heil stands on any of this stuff, but it's just very, very strange to me that a soldier could come out of these 2 horrific wars and just not do a little more research on your friend and everything. But he knows about the A&E. He knows it's coming out there. He doesn't know that there's a trailer or anything like that. I don't know. It's weird. Very, very weird. Let's continue on with our buddy Mitch. I'll just go back a little bit
on the show and have him kind of give his perspective on it.
Right,
that'd be
right.
awesome.
Would you say that? I'm sorry. Would you say that in watching the documentary that it was well done?
Oh, extremely well done. I thought.
You think anything was like taken out of context, or things that was like,
no,
he kind of missed on that.
No, I don't
there
think
we
so,
go. Nothing out of context. Nothing.
The family was pretty happy.
Nothing was taken out of context. They asked a good question. I mean, they're asking some good questions. I just think, the answers. I think need to hear the other side of this too. Nothing was taken out of context. Are you kidding me? The whole thing is taken out of context. If you're accusing David Crowley of being guilty and you can't prove it, and the proof is not in your documentary, the whole documentary is taken out of context at that point. That's what I would think. But what do I know?
Was well done.
Oh, extremely well done. I thought.
You think anything was like taken out of context, or things that was like, no, he kind of missed on that?
No, I don't think so, because like the family was pretty heavily involved, like every step of the way. Like they wanted to make sure that everything that was shown was okay with the family.
There, when he says everything is okay with the family. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking, Ellie. Family was happy. Yeah, we know Kamel's family. Yeah, he doesn't mention that. Great point, Ellie. Mitch Heil doesn't mention that. Maybe he doesn't know. He doesn't know that there was a trailer for the movie. So maybe he has no idea that, the family, when he says the family, he's probably just talking about David's side, right? He's not talking about Kamel's family. He's not talking about their side. And David's side is huge. So who is he really talking about? I mean, we can assume he's talking about David's dad was okay with it, David's brother was okay with it, and David's sister was okay with it. My question is, if David's sister was okay with it, why isn't she in this at all? Period. She's not shown, she's not talked to or anything like that. You have David's dad and David's brother are a big part of this. And at no point in Eric Nelson's film do either of them ever say, this is what proves David guilty. You know why? Because they have no proof of their son and their brother's guilt. How shameful is it? This is the great shame. This is what happens when you try to accuse somebody, your family, your son and your brother, and you're okay with that. That is very shameful. Very shameful. And don't think that you're going to escape the judgment of God. It's not going to happen. The best thing for you to do is to repent and to understand that what you said was wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with admitting, you know what? I thought my son was guilty. Today I believe he's not. That's what I want to hear from David's dad. You know what? I thought my brother was guilty. I believe today he's not. That's what I want to hear from David's brother. That's what I want to hear from all of these family members who think David Crowley did it. We know there are family members out there who think David Crowley did not do this. I know who you are. You know who you are. And I totally understand if you don't want to come forward, if you just want to stay private. But we know you're out there. And we know that there are many people that are kind of teetering on both sides, on David's side and Camille's side, kind of teetering. They're not really sure. Well, we're going to give you the evidence that shows David Crowley did not do this. You can watch Catherine's videos. You can watch Dan Hannon's videos, William Rail's videos. You can watch my videos. You can watch the videos that Sophia has put together. I mean, there's so many videos out there that will help you understand David did not do this. It just depends on how much you care about David Crowley as your family, as your blood. How much do you really care about him as your friend? We're hearing the friend do this. This is 2017. Mitch Heil's views could have changed a lot from then. We don't know. I don't know. Let me put it like that. I don't know. You know, I don't know what's in every person's heart. They may be lying. They may be saying that they believe David Crowley is guilty, and they honestly, truthfully don't. But then that begs the question as to why. So Ellie breaks it down again. You know, I spend 5-10 minutes ranting, and Ellie breaks it down in one sentence. Either way, there is zero, none, not a single piece of evidence that he did this. That's it. So with that being said, let's go back and listen to Mitch Heil rant and spread propaganda a little bit more. Let's go.
Things it was like, no, he kind of missed on that.
No, I don't think so, because like the family was pretty heavily involved. Like every step of the way, like they wanted to make sure that everything that was shown was okay with the family. So, I mean, it was done as respectfully as it could be done when you're talking about someone that murdered his family and then killed himself, I guess.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
It was done as respectfully as it could be done. It was done as respectfully as it could be done when you're talking about somebody that murdered his family and killed himself, not leaving any doors open to maybe he didn't do it, right? They're not even going there. Not even going there. What I want to hear from these hosts is, hey, okay, what shows David did this? That's all they need to ask, right? That's what they need to ask and say, okay, DNA, gun, what motive? Those three things are missing. We know those three things are missing. No DNA tying David to the murders. No ballistics tying David to these murders. No motive tying David to these murders. What proves he did it then? No note. On and on and on. You all know that, so I should stop because you all know that. Preaching to the choir here, but it's a little bit frustrating. Let's move on.
It was done as respectfully as it could be done when you're talking about someone that murdered his family and then killed himself, I guess.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
So,
I mean, yeah, go ahead.
Real quick, so how long after you had left the project before he killed his family and himself?
Probably 6 months,
Wow. Okay.
something like that.
Shit.
And he almost like from I don't totally understand what happened, but like he almost made it when he went to Hollywood to pitch his film. Like, they interviewed the people that he pitched it to also, and they're like, yeah, we were kind of totally on board with it. But I don't know exactly what happened, but I don't think David was on board with what he would have to give up as far as creative input, being the director. I don't know exactly what happened, but
because
for
he
whatever
thought
reason,
Hollywood was going to get to control it, and then they were going to lose the
something
message.
like that. I don't know. Yeah. So
I do want to just kind of get your opinion on something too, Mitch, about they kind of brought up that like maybe they were being haunted, and that it could have been like a mutual agreement to have this whole thing happen. What do you think about that?
right. So during the, they basically, they were living, him and his wife were kind of living in this weird world. I don't know exactly how much she was involved with conspiracies or how much she believed in it, but like that was David's world, and everything that he lived in and revolved around. So obviously it's going to sneak into your personal life. Well, at some point.
Well, wait, I'm going to cut you off quick. To the point where like there was a couple clips of their like 4 or 5-year-old daughter talking about like, oh, killing babies, bloody, like it was totally normal. And
those are some of the things, and this is what they asked them earlier, and I'm glad that this person brought up, because this is another thing taken out of context, right? The paranormal thing, the clips that she's talking about could be completely taken out of context, but there's nothing taken out of context according to what Mitch Heil said. Let's continue on. Face and Paul.
Well, wait, I'm going to cut you off quick. To the point where like there was a couple clips of their like 4 or 5-year-old daughter talking about like, oh, killing babies, bloody, like it was totally normal. And
it was
kind
of weird, bad things.
But a couple questions. When does the movie come out?
I don't know.
Okay. Second question: is there a way we get a advance copy and see it? Because I would love to see that movie before we interview the guy.
I don't know, because
I'm only gonna put it on Pirate Bay. It's not a big deal.
right.
Like, just give it to me and let me do it.
Right. One of the guys that helped make it, he called me the day after and was just talking to him, and he's like, hey, blah blah blah. Do you want? I could probably give you a copy of this, although I don't know what I can give you. I think there's some kind of like NDA shit on it that I can't. So I don't know what I can do. So I don't think I can get a copy of it yet. I will eventually.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think they need to work out the distribution, and probably it needs to screen so many places, whatever, blah blah blah, first,
before they figure out where they want to place it on A&E's schedule rotation.
Something like that.
Whether it tests well.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, back to the demon thing. So basically, they were kind of so paranoid that his wife is like, I felt something, or I heard someone talking to me, and then like there was no one there, and then she basically had a kind of a breakdown and was crying and like saying blah blah blah. I feel like I'm not in my body anymore. I feel like this is not right. I'm here, but I'm not here. That type of thing.
What did they say she was? Rampage?
Disassociation.
That's not even. It's not even accurate to what is in the actual film. It's not accurate to it. Remember, this is 5 days after Mitch Heil saw the film for the first time, right? Maybe the last time. I don't know. But that's not accurate at all of what is in those clips that we see in Eric Nelson's film, or what is in anything. Even what David talks about. It's just not accurate.
Blah, blah, blah. I feel like I'm not in my body anymore. I feel like this is not right. I'm here, but I'm not here. That type of thing.
What did they say she was? Rampage?
Disassociation, like she felt outside of her body. And
kind of like that.
Yeah.
So David said that his wife got raptured.
That's what it was.
That's what he called. He said she got raptured. And he wrote in his journal, like, she got raptured today, but she's still here. And then, really weird shit.
So they both were into this.
So that's good because
I don't- see,
that shows that he has read the journal. That's a quote directly. That quote is directly from David's journal. She got raptured today, but she's still here. So he's doing some research. He's looking at some things, but you're not going to look at what proves your friend guilty, your business partner, your best friend. You call him your best friend. You don't even take the time. You're too lazy to even research what proves him guilty. What kind of best friend is that? Really odd stuff, man. Let's continue.
That's what he called it. He called it, said she got raptured. And he wrote in his journal, like, she got raptured today, but she's still here. And then, really weird shit.
So they both were into this weirdness.
I don't see. That's the thing. I don't know.
Oh my God. I'm reading the
into it.
comments. I'm reading the comments underneath the trailer that you posted, Cherry. Holy shit. This is some fucking Alex Jones. No, even worse. Some really like dark web level conspiracy shit in the comments, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
It's not good.
I'm going to read one of them. Just so you understand the people we're dealing with.
There's almost 5,000 comments here.
Yeah, 5,000 comments and 2.7 million views. The Zionists that print our money. This is, by the way, Gorchula Joe. He's a partner verified, apparently. The Zionists that print our money and run everything in our country now, they whacked him for telling the truth, even going so far as including the Illuminati pyramid as a U.S. government logo of our arms, RFID chips, and the one right that they're probably pissed the Jews off enough for them to tell the U.S. government lapdogs to whack them. FYI, if you don't know the Jews, the Jewish mafia is behind all of this shit with Jesus, sorry, then you're fucking ignorant. Research, hold on.
With the Jesuits, yeah.
Jesuits, sorry. Read more. Research this fact. The president does not matter. They do what the Jew bankers say, or they get shot like Lincoln and Kennedy.
Wow.
That's the number 2 comment.
Yeah, that's, there's two sides of the story. There's people like,
Just want to stop there again. I know Ellie's probably shaking her head, waving her fists and everything, because this is what they do. They look at the most radical conspiracy theory when it comes to it. They don't want to look at the fact. They're not talking about any of the facts here. They're not saying, hey, Mitch, okay, so David did it, and so they found the gun, or they found a note, or they found something that showed David Crowley actually did this. No, when they look in the comment section, like we just saw, he looked in the comment section and went for the craziest comment, right? You want to, why? You would want to look for the most sane comment. You'd want to look for those comments that make you go, okay, maybe there's something to that. But no, they look for the most craziest comments because they're doing a radio show. This is entertainment to them. This is not about facts to these people. They don't care about the facts. That's why they move on. They do one little show, haha, laugh, oh, we're all having fun, blah, blah, blah. Oh, look at these crazy comments. Oh, this is, and then they act like this crazy comment is how everybody feels when it's not. It's a crazy comment. It is not the norm. And so it's interesting that they focus on that particular comment when there could be some really good comments in there that may make you think, yeah, how do we know David Crowley actually did this? Let's talk about that. What a concept. Well, that's what this whole channel, the Gray Stage channel, the book, that's the whole purpose. The podcast, that is the purpose of it. Let's talk about these things that guys like Dutch and Royce don't want to focus on. Guys like Mitch Heil don't want to focus on. They want to make this some entertainment. Take a child's death and make it entertaining. Is there anything entertaining about this? Take a soldier's death, entertaining. A soldier, and then accuse him of murdering people. Oh, this is all entertainment, right? To them, it is, and that's their right. There's nothing. I mean, I'm not, if that's what they want to do, if that's what their show is based on, then fine. But don't be surprised when people call you out on it. And that's it. Very weird stuff. The more that we get into this. All right, let's get back to the Dutch and Royce because we are better than you. They're better than you at making up crap.
The president does not matter. They do what the Jew bankers say, or they get shot like Lincoln and Kennedy.
Wow.
That's a number 2 comment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's there's two sides of the story. There's people like, yeah, he there was money problems, there was bad world that he was living in, and he kind of snapped and killed his family. And the other side is the Jews did it, or the government did it.
Hold on, hold
Are you seeing the
on,
responses to
hold
that
on.
one comment?
The other side. He's saying the other side is the Jews did it.
He there was
I'm just
money
gonna read that.
problems, there was bad world that he
Okay,
was living
let's
in.
talk about. Let's go back.
Wow.
That's a number 2 comment.
Hopefully, you can. That's a number 2
Yeah,
comment. That's a number 2 comment because there's probably a lot of people that are commenting on it, that are saying you're full of crap or whatever. They disagree, or we're gonna have a good discussion. I don't know. I don't know about that. It's just weird that Dutch and Royce, or whoever, which I'm not sure if that's Ellie. Can you tell if that's Royce or if that's Dutch? I don't know the difference, but I'm just curious to see why that whoever that was, why they focused on that comment. For entertainment value is the only thing that I can think of. And that's fine. Nothing wrong with that.
There's two sides of the story.
So Mitch Heil is going to tell us there's 2 sides of the story. 2 sides, not 3 sides, not 4 sides. There's only 2 sides here. He's only going to give us 2 sides. How many times have we heard this? How many times have we seen this where they only want to give us 2 sides? Either David is guilty or the government did it. That's it. That's all they want to give us. They don't want to look at anything in between to say, you know what? Let's not say either or unless we can prove it. Don't tell me the government did it unless you can prove it. Don't tell me David Crowley did it unless you can prove it. How about that? Why not start there? I mean, these are real life issues with real people, and it involves children. Not just involves people, but it involves children too. So at that point, you think, yeah, you would want to take it a little more seriously. Hey, let's figure out what did this. Let's do whatever we possibly can to find out what the truth is. Who murdered this child and why? But they don't want to do that. They're not even focused on that. It's really interesting. I just make one more comment here.
There's people like, yeah, he there was money problems.
There was money. So there, where he says there's people. So the one side is there's people that say David had money problems. He had no money problems. There was no financial motivation. Period. They were not without money. There was a $14,000 check on their doorstep from David's father. David's father had money. There's no money problems. David was working on a deal, on a Hollywood deal. No money problems there. They owned their own home. No money problems there. They had 2 cars. No money problems there. They were paying all of their bills. No money problems there. But these are the only 2 sides he wants us to focus on. Why, Mitch? Why?
It's shot like Lincoln and Kennedy.
Wow.
That's a number 2 comment.
Yeah, that's there's 2 sides of the story. There's people like, yeah, he there was money problems, there was bad world that he was living in, and he kind of snapped and killed his family.
Snapped and killed his family. That's it. They want to make sure that you understand that is the side. He had financial problems and he snapped and killed his family. That's crazy. That is nuts to me. For someone who would think that, for someone who would believe that or spread that garbage out there, you are a freaking nut. You are a nutcase. And you are going to be exposed. You are going to continue to be exposed by people like us.
And the other side is the Jews did it.
And the other side is the Jews did it. So that's it. Either it was the Jews, either David did it, or the Jews did it. It's just so crazy. I don't understand it. What is the other? Yeah, that no one questions. Wait, how do they know he did it for sure? Exactly. And the third side, like Ellie is saying, and the third side is the truth of what actually happened. That is the side that we are all focused on here. It's not about the Democrats. It's not about the Republicans. It's just about what is truth here. That's it, right? I mean, we can break it down just like that, right? You don't vote for a person based on their party line, or you shouldn't really. You vote for the best person if you vote, obviously. But when we talk about truth, yeah, we have to. I mean, we don't just say there's only two sides to this. So it kind of, again, it's like the more I hear from Mitch Heil, it's like the more he's burying himself. Now, I was able to take 3 pages because I didn't want to make Mitch Heil look bad. I really didn't. In this book, in the publication, right? He does a pretty good job of that by on his own without me having to even do that. I don't need to make him look bad. I just wanted to kind of document some of the things that I thought were the most relevant to the David Crowley story, and that's what I included from Mitch from this interview that we're hearing. So 3 pages of the interview that we're listening to here are in this book, and that's it. There could have been a lot more, but I didn't want the book to be about Mitch Heil, just like I didn't want the book to be about Mason Hendricks or Sean Wright, Danny Mason or Judy Prochnow or Adam Schambauer or Chris Peck or any of the other characters, cast of characters, people that were trying to insert themselves into a murder crime case. This is a murder mystery because we know David did not do this. So that's why it is a mystery. It is an unsolved case because we know David did not do this. So if he didn't do it, that's what everybody's asking. That's what I'm sure all of you are asking at level 2. When you know that I'm on level 1 here, still trying to focus there. Hey, he did not do this because there are so many people that come into it thinking David did it, and there's just no evidence of that. Let's get back into this, and I'll try to keep my comments to a minimum as long as Mitch Heil doesn't trigger me, right? Sorry, folks. I do appreciate all of you being here.
Or the government did it, or the Zion,
Are you seeing the response?
there's people like, yeah, he there was money problems, there was, bad world that he was living in, and he kind of snapped and killed his family. And the other side is the Jews did it, or the government did it, or the Zion,
Are you seeing the responses to that one comment?
Dude, yeah, it's crazy.
I'm
sure it's
reading
it's
just the
probably
responses.
50-50, 50-50 against.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, and they're totally accurate there. Like 50-50, like the responses. I mean, the reason why that comment is number 2 is probably, it's probably a deep debate going back and forth about that particular comment. This is what we see a lot happen with this case. Even back in 2015, even in the early stages of 2015, we saw this. Here we are, we're talking about David Crowley, what proves he did it, what proves he didn't, and then we get these things that are kind of outside of this norm. People that spend a lot of time researching all these other things about the Jesuits and the Jews and the Zionists and all that stuff, and then they want to try to bring this case into that, which is fine as long as you can back it up, as long as you can prove it, right? That's fine. But they bring it into it and they just kind of leave it there and drop it and move on to this other case. They look at another case and they probably do the same thing with these other cases here too. To me, that is just not a very responsible thing, right? Because I am a Christian, I'm not always just going to say, I'm not always going to try to bring my Christian views into this David Crowley case. I believe there is a lot there, but it's not going to just be, hey, okay, well, and I don't believe in the Zionist thing, but let's say that I did, right? So people who believe in the Zionist thing could easily just convert that into this, right? You could look at certain things that you have been researching for years and years and then attach the David Crowley case to that. I just don't think that that is the most responsible thing to do. It is your freedom. It is your right to do that. There's nothing wrong with that. And we could talk about that when we start creating fake counts to try to counter that or to try to disprove that or to make sure that we dislike all of your positive comments and things like that. That's taking it to a very satanic level, a very evil level. It's like whatever your view is, make sure you stand by your views, stay strong in those views. I totally get that. But what I saw during those early days, especially during those early days, was people trying to attach the David Crowley case to other things like government conspiracies, right? Like Zionist conspiracies, things like that. Instead of just, whether it's true or not, and instead of just saying, look, let's just look at what proves him guilty and what proves that he didn't do this. Let's talk about that, right? Those should be the top comments. Those should be the number one, the number two comments. All of that should be what we're talking about here. But sometimes you have, trolls, you have people, even sometimes you have good willing people that really mean the best, and they create something, and they try to attach David Crowley's story to their views, to their thinking. And I just don't know if that is the right approach to this case. This case can be such a toxic case. And it's really interesting to me, the people that gravitated to it and the people that didn't gravitate to it. I see real people gravitating to this case. Good, God-fearing, human-loving people gravitating to this case. And it's just, I'll just leave it at that for now. We'll come back to that, but let's get back into what Mitch Heil is saying. We're only 20 minutes in.
Yeah, it's not
the pyramid was an ancient Christian symbol in the 13th century. The symbol itself isn't evil. The Freemasons aren't evil, but the world bankers are.
Man, that's intense.
Jesus.
So anyway, this is what happens when you Google my name now.
Sorry, go ahead.
This is insane. Just reading this. I'm just reading. There's so many like replies and comments to comments and then comments to the other comments. It's just a never-ending thread.
Just search for Gray State official concept trailer if you want to read these comments. I mean,
2 million views.
I'm afraid to read too many of them. For YouTube will kick it down. I mean, it gets pretty dark, dude. It gets dark. Some of these are fucking brutal. I remember when this first trailer first came out and how cool it looked, and we were like, "Hey, that's awesome!" And
I know, and we thought, and see, there was a point, and another point that I got out of it was like, or that took me out of the whole project or whatever, was like, I wanted to do the movie. I wanted to work on a movie. And he's like, oh, we're also going to do a TV show, and we're also going to do a documentary about the real life things. And we're also going to have an interactive app video game thing. And we're also going to have a Gray State workout DVD. That's when I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, that a workout thing? No.
Spaceballs the cereal. Spaceballs the cartoon.
Yes. It was like that. I'm like, let's focus on one thing. And then he chose to focus on the real life documentary thing instead. I'm like, okay.
Frozen Asian's got a good point. So if this becomes a biographical movie, who's going to play Mitch? And I say easily John Sanzari. He's the best actor we know.
I was hoping for James Franco.
I wanted Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, good luck, faggot.
The Coop.
You're not gonna.
By the way, speaking of faggot, like it took like four comments in of people responding to the other guy before somebody called somebody a faggot.
It's the internet, man. It's the
That's
internet.
pretty good.
It's the greatest.
The internet fucking rules. Man, forget YouTube holes. You get in comment holes where you'll just be reading comments for an hour and you're like, what am I doing with my life?
And some troll came on here and said, time to accept Jesus, folks, before time is up. Evil's rising. And the only way for your forever peace is to think sense, not short term, but accept Jesus in your heart. 157 replies to that one comment.
Oh, yeah. They weren't going to leave that alone.
Just.
Everyone knows that
you're a faggot.
Everyone knows that the pagans were actually like the original religion.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting to me too, is how it always comes back to, their hatred towards Jesus, their hatred towards Christ. A person makes that comment, and it is a triggering comment. I don't know why, but it can be a triggering comment everywhere. All right, let's get back in.
blah, 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 blah. Oh, shut up. I'm so tired of it.
Christ, look at all this. This is just the pure insanity going on in this trailer. Comment section.
Crazy.
I've never wanted to see a documentary more.
I really need to see this
Yes, I want
documentary.
to see it now.
By the way, Mitch,
It's really it's really well done. I highly recommend you watch it. even if
now
you're
this
not
might.
I got a
attached to the
question.
project.
Dutch, hold on. I got a question, and I don't want to be insensitive.
It's
but
really
I'm gonna
well
ask it
done.
anyway. If you got less than 5 Dutch and Royce plugs in there, I will fire you and kill you. So, I mean, I'm just letting
Should
you know.
I just hang up now then?
Hey,
Oh,
hey. No, you will not.
Um,
I will kill you
So
on air.
if you're gonna kill Mitch, I love you, but you're uninvited
Oh, we'll kill him after we
to
go.
my house.
We'll kill him
Oh.
after
Okay.
we go.
Perfect.
Martial
God,
law
every time I
declared.
think about that whole story and about that, because I mean everybody's lost somebody, but like
All fun and jokes, and nothing wrong with that. That's how they deal with things. That's what they say.
that losing one of your best friends that way
Yeah.
is just
Right.
fucking. How do you feel about it this many years later, and then rewatching it this weekend, like kind of reliving everything as it went on?
Well,
Or did you relive it? Were you able to like compartmentalize it? Because I know you like to do that.
no, I dealt with it. There was a couple parts that kind of got me. It was things that weren't. Jesus Christ. So the only part that really got to me that kind of made me, tear up was it kicked into old airsoft videos that we did, Jesus Christ, at this point, like 18 years ago. Wow. These videos kicked in and the music kicked in and I knew exactly what it was. I'm like, the nostalgia hit me and I'm like, oh, this is really sad.
It's always interesting to me the people that don't believe in Jesus Christ always love to use his name in vain. Sorry.
His dad
It was
made
just
me
you
lose
guys
it
having
a couple
fun?
times.
Yeah, it's just us making fun. This was our first times, experimenting with movies and, filmmaking and stuff like that. It was like, it really was sad.
Sorry.
right.
And then I'm looking at this screenshot that Royce has it paused on,
Mhm.
and I made that that graphic that's on there,
Mhm.
and I see that the martial law thing is inside or it's outside of the red box and it's creeping into the gray box on the left.
Uh-oh.
And I'm really mad at myself.
You're mad at yourself.
I should have done better.
Oh, I see it
Oh,
now.
I see it now too. Wow, you are a failure.
Of course, you picked that out.
Good thing the movie didn't come out.
Right?
I mean, not why. It's, you know what I meant.
Yes.
Was that the only thing that you guys did this weekend, or
Well,
were
nothing's
there
gonna
other
top
things?
that.
I don't know.
Them going hunting.
yeah. No, we
for
did other
mushrooms
things
or
too.
whatever.
I went hunting and tried to kill things.
Did you
Yeah,
kill anything?
Sherry.
So I think that's about it, peeps. I think that's about it for this one here of what they cover, and we went about 60 minutes, which is what I wanted to make sure we didn't dominate the time on. But there it is. There's Mitch Heil's views as of 2017. The guy who has not looked into the BCA results, the guy who has not looked into the DNA, to the handwriting, to the motives, to the actual documents, obviously. And if you have, Mitch, please, you're always welcome. If you ever want to do a debate, I'm always open to it. Mitch Heil has an open invitation to debate me at any time, wherever you want. I will make sure that I'm there, because I really believe that there's a lot that you are missing, like so many other people that have an open invitation. Danny August Mason, Sean Wright, Mason Hendricks, Chris Beck, and Mitch Heil. Anytime, if you guys ever want to debate me on this case, please reach out. I'm not hard to find. thegraystage@gmail.com. There's other ways that you can reach out to me. But if you ever want to debate this, I'm going to show you guys why you guys are wrong, why David is innocent, why your friend is innocent. And that goes to the family, and that goes to David's family too. If they want to have a polite conversational debate on this, I'm going to show you why you're wrong if you believe David Crowley is guilty. David Crowley is not guilty. He's not guilty. And Eric Nelson's film, this is interesting because this is before these people have seen Eric Nelson's film. I would love to get the comments from everybody on the show, on the Dutch and Royce show, that think that they're better than everybody. They may be better than everybody, but they don't have as much knowledge as everybody. Obviously, when it comes to the David Crowley case, their knowledge is very minimal. But let's see if we can change that. Maybe we can change that. Maybe we can get them to understand David Crowley did not do this. Because there were people that also thought David Crowley did this. They watched Eric Nelson's film and they realized Eric Nelson did a horrible job at trying to convince people that David Crowley did this. And that's why you have today more people that understand David Crowley did not do this. That is the issue here. So let's take our feelings out of it, take all that out of it. But if Mitch Heil, if you ever do want to accept my challenge to debate me, it's an open door challenge. We will make it happen. I'll make it happen. All right. So with that being said, thank you all. We're going to come back here in about 15 days for the next Gray Stage podcast episode. We are now on, we just happen to be on my favorite chapter of the book, The Gray Shame. This is what we're going to talk about here, okay? The Gray Shame, right there, okay? So we're going to spend, and this is the final chapter of this book. This book, or this chapter, goes from page 145 and ends at like page 200, almost 200. So this is the longest, this is a very, very long chapter. This chapter is based on the very first article that I ever did on this case. The way that I wrote this book is it starts with you going into the home, what happened there, who found the bodies, what did the neighbors see, hello neighbor, what did you find, what did you see, etc., and it goes from there. It starts there, but the book ends. This chapter we're about to read here ends with what we knew about David Crowley back then, leading up to these deaths, based on his words, based on his posts. What was he posting about? What was he saying? What were the stripes? What were some of the different things, some of the people like Sean Wright that were trying to reach out to him to give them his phone number because David wasn't getting in contact with him? Sean Wright wanted to get in contact with David Crowley to make sure that in David Crowley's documentary film that David did not include Sean Wright's tax stuff. Those are some of the things that we're going to talk about, okay? And all that is public data. Anybody can look at this stuff and you can see there is no evidence David Crowley did this. God bless you all. Love you all. And until next time, until next month, stay strong in the Word.